Hey everyone, I'm at CBC Radio right now. I'm about to go on the air with Mike Finnerty to discuss the recent hip hop ban at Le
Effectively,
Pioneer.
a ban on hip hop music in bars and clubs on the West Island. This week, the Pioneer Bar in Point Claire Village got its liquor license back. You may know the bar as well as Clyde's. In order to sell beer and liquor again, the bar's owners had to make a promise. No more hip hop performances ever. David Hodges lives in Pierrefonds and has been performing at the bar for the past 9 years. David, I think you had the last concert and you were supposed to put a final hip-hop show on at the Pioneer before it lost its liquor license. Is that right?
Actually, no. The show was already happening, and because of the show, the bar lost its liquor license.
So that show had done is what caused the problem.
Yes, exactly. But we've been doing shows there for the past 6 years, and we've never had a problem when it was Clyde's. And for whatever reason, they decided that this was the show they were going to intervene.
So what was it about that show that caused such a problem?
Truth be told, for us, it was a bit of a mystery because we've been working with the artists. All the artists that have been on that bill are all heavily implicated artists in the music industry, where they're all internationally known. And we've been putting on these shows just for as long as long as I've been doing hip hop music, and we've never had that difficulty. We've never had that ever happen.
Was there trouble that night at all?
No, there's never been any trouble at any of our events. We've been doing sold out concerts, hip hop concerts, and because it's Hodges Music presents these concerts, my name holds a lot of weight for positive hip hop in the community. So when people come out, people treat the shows as their entertainment. People coming together, the community celebrating through hip hop music. Everyone goes home happy. And
No
that's the way it's
arrests,
always been.
no violence,
Never,
nothing like that. So,
ever.
This whole idea that the bar, the Pioneer now, it can't have any more live hip hop shows unless it doesn't want to have a liquor license, and that's not going to work. How is all that going down in the hip hop community?
People are really confused and a little upset because even for someone as myself who's grown in Clyde's show bar before it became the Pioneer, I did my first hip hop show, my first show ever at Clyde's, and I've grown a lot since then for the past 9 years, where I started off as one person on stage rapping over a CD to being part of a 5-piece band with backup singers, and now I'm performing all over the place in hip hop in festivals, you know what I mean, as a hip hop artist. And a lot of my performing arts development came from performing at Clyde's, and also my event organization and being an audience member, being at Clyde's. There's been some positive things that are happening through the hip-hop community at that place.
Okay, I'm speaking to David Hodges, who is from Pierrefonds, and he's a promoter of hip-hop, also a performer. Now, we've spent the last 2 working days trying to get to the bottom of what's behind this. We spoke to La Régie des Alcools, which is the Quebec Liquor Licensing Board. They sent us a statement saying that the bar's liquor license, the Pioneers or Clyde's, was revoked because of a request by Montreal police. We called the co-owner of the Pioneer, Diane Marois, and she told us about the day the police came to talk to her about her liquor license and hip-hop music in her bar.
They called my husband and I to their office and sat us down and asked us if we had this hip-hop show in the works, and we said yes, we did. And the police commented that you realize that hip-hop shows usually bring in gang members. And he says apparently there's some members that have police records. And they showed us some mugshots.
Diane Marois there, she's the owner of the bar in Point Claire Village. Well, the Liquor Licensing Board offered her license back temporarily on the condition written into the license that she not have any hip-hop or rap shows any longer. Now, we asked Joyce Tremblay of La Régie for an interview, and she declined. She referred us to the police. The police we asked as well for an interview. Unavailable for comment. They told us they were all tied up with the student demos. But on that point, the police make the case that there is a tie-in, David, between hip-hop and gang violence. Do you accept that?
I think that there's definitely a stigma that's been looming around the hip hop culture for a long time, but I believe that it definitely overshadows the actual value that hip hop has on the community and the power that it has to change people's lives. And I feel that statements such as these things that come out, like hip hop is banned because it's related to gang violence, it promotes the stigma, and it doesn't actually really. It exists perhaps on some levels in terms of people's personal lives, but in terms of the entertainment value of what hip hop brings to the community, it's not at all.
But there, even just in recent memory, in the last year in Montreal, there were two brutal slayings. Bad News Brown, you'll remember, was killed, and then there was a hip hop promoter who was literally set on fire in his apartment and burned to death. It's not in the police's imagination that there's something going on between hip hop and criminality.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that as hip hop leaders and as people of Montreal, we do have a responsibility to be responsible for who we are as people. And I think that's really important. And for myself as a hip hop community leader who also works in the Lester B. Pearson School Board, who's affiliated to Kids Help Phone and World Vision and really positive organizations, I know that hip hop has a really valuable asset to deliver to especially our youth.
How do you use hip hop to reach out to kids, to students in schools?
Well, it's all about the message. It's about what you're professing and also practicing what you're professing as well. And that's the kind of hip hop that I've been doing, and that's the kind of hip hop that the West Island specifically has been building. And we've been nurturing all these artists at Clyde's, and we've been nurturing and having hip hop shows. And you see some of the greatest talent now coming out of the West Island, and we've been inviting the city in to the West Island to put the West Island on the map, that there's actual talent out here that's promoting positive music.
So where can you put on a live hip hop show now on the West Island?
It's really tough to say. We've been also doing some shows at the Scratch Bar as well. We've been going back and forth between Clyde's and the Scratch Bar. But right now it's the summertime, so myself personally, I'm organizing a lot of different festivals and community events with different organizations, and it's going to be all put out there and people will know about it. But
there's a prominent minority rights advocate here in Montreal who says that this action by the police amounts to the criminalization of modern Black pop culture. Would you go that far?
Could you repeat that?
So saying that hip hop is essentially modern Black pop culture, and that saying you can't have it in a bar is like criminalizing it.
Yeah, to a certain degree. I see it more as a small hurdle more than anything, because it's just a bar. I mean, it means a lot to some people such as myself, but at the same time, the hip hop culture is not going to die from something like this. It's actually going to persist and get even stronger. Whereas when I look at something like this is something that fuels the hip hop community to become more positive, to become more influential.
Are you going to do anything about it? Are you going to protest, or is there any plan on talking to the police or the régie?
I think that's definitely not the approach that the hip hop community should have. I think that we should just continue to do what it is that we do, and the community will respond to that. And as long as it's in a positive way. I don't think that taking it to the streets is the way to approach this. I think we put on more events, we constantly push hip hop music, and we're doing what we're doing. And now it's kind of brought it to the light that this event that got canceled was a David Hodges event, and David Hodges holds a lot of weight in this community as a hip hop artist. People can check me on hodgesmusic.com. You could see my latest music videos with Kids Help Phone that promotes anti-bullying, and it went semi-viral, and like people know what I'm doing.
This story about Clyde's and the Pioneer has been picked up by Erin Burnett of CNN. She tweeted it last night to 50 Cent. He is yet to respond, but if he did, of course, that is the kind of thing that can make an impact on these kind of stories. David Hodges, thank you very much for coming in and speaking to us this morning. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
David Hodges there, who is a hip-hop promoter on the West Island. He's based in Pierrefonds. And our colleague Andy Blatchford from this Canadian Press has done some calling around to liquor licensing authorities in other provinces like BC, Alberta, and Ontario, and found that Quebec seems to be, at least among the big provinces, big populace in terms of population, that Quebec is alone in banning this type of music online. Spokesperson for Ontario's Alcohol and Gaming Commission said any condition has to speak directly to a public safety issue, and you would have to make a very strong case that having a certain type of music would make the venue inherently unsafe. It's Lisa Murray from Ontario's Gaming Commission. Curious to hear what you think. Send us an email, daybreak@montreal.cbc.ca.